from the most watched station in Central Texas. This is KWTX News 10.
Good afternoon, Central Texas, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Tara Mergener.
And I'm Justin Early. The city of Woodway and its city manager are being sued by a veteran employee of the Public Safety Department.
The woman is alleging sexual harassment and sexual assault against the former police chief, Yost Zachary, who remains in office. News 10's John Carroll has the story.
If the city refuses or fails to hold him accountable, we will.
Waco attorney Ryan Johnson has filed a lawsuit today against the city of Woodway and Yost Zachary, who remains at the city manager's post in spite of admitting last week that he had made improper sexual comments in the workplace.
We're filing this lawsuit in order to hold Yost Zachary and the city accountable for the multiple and repeated instances of sexual harassment and assault of Sandra Bickle.
The lawsuit, along with the graphic 5-page Texas Workforce Commission complaint, has been filed on behalf of 17-year department veteran Sandra Bickle. In the complaint, at one point, the dispatcher claims Zachary tells her she needs a boob job. In another incident, the woman claims Zachary said, "You're looking good. I haven't seen you naked yet." In yet another incident, she alleges the chief made a comment to her coworker saying Sandy liked being spanked. She says the reason she waited a while before reporting him, quote, "I've been in fear of losing my job." Now her lawyer says more are coming out.
And only after she has come forward, now others are beginning to come forward. And we have been in touch with multiple current and former employees of the city of Woodway who have reported the similar or the same kinds of sexual harassment.
Johnson says the city should cut ties with Zachary because his actions should not be defended.
To make comments about a woman's breasts, their breast size, or any sexualized comments in the workplace and repeatedly is degrading, it's demeaning, it's humiliating. We want the truth. We want transparency. We want the city of Woodway to clean up.
That was our John Carroll reporting. It has been a beautiful start to the work week, but things are about to take a turn in the weather world in the next 24 hours.
Today felt so good. Let's send it over to Rusty Garrett for a look at the week's forecast. Rusty, say it isn't so. We might have some heavy rain coming.
We need it. You know, we've got that drought that now is up to nearly 4 inches behind where we should be. So we do need the rainfall. Hopefully we can keep the threat for severe weather at a minimum. Take a look at satellite pictures and we can see the clouds are much thicker just off to our west, where rain and thunderstorms are embedded within those clouds, especially out between Midland and Abilene and between Abilene and Wichita Falls. This area primed for strong to severe thunderstorms right on into the evening. While where we are, we're capped. We've got that warm air aloft. So for the time being, the outlook for any kind of severe weather is going to be out to the north and west of the central Texas area. As we move through the overnight and in through the day tomorrow, all of central Texas will be outlooked by the Storm Prediction Center in a slight risk, which means any thunderstorms that do go severe might contain some hail to the size of ping pong balls. And we may have some high winds as well as some localized flooding. We'll have full weather details on the timing coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Rusty. A Hewitt couple has died. Investigators say the husband shot his wife, then turned the gun on himself. According to Hewitt police, the bodies of 76-year-old Robert Hahn and his wife, 73-year-old Barbara, were found at home today. A family member called police after finding a note on the front door saying not to enter, call police. A note was found also inside claiming they had domestic issues.
A teacher is on leave after school officials say that person threatened a student. The Bruceville Eddy ISD teacher is accused of threatening a high school student. The teacher has not been identified, but we do know Bruceville Eddy police have been notified. The district superintendent, Richard Kilgore, says it takes any and all threats made by students, faculty, and staff very seriously.
A dumpster in Killeen is piling up more than just trash near a Central Texas neighborhood. Some residents living in Nolan Creek say people are not only going through the trash, but stealing Salvation Army donations, using drugs, and even performing sexual acts. City officials have been called in to help with the cleanup, and cameras have been installed, but some fear it's not enough.
Because what they're doing is affecting everybody. They're affecting the health of everyone else. They're affecting the safety of other people.
To me, it creates an unsafe environment with all these people going through here, going in the trash at night.
People are urged to report any illegal activity to police.
2 men are busted after a high-speed chase that started in Lorena, ending in Lacey Lakeview. Began around 8:30 last night after a Lorena officer pulled up behind a car stopped in a grassy area. Well, the officer reportedly smelled alcohol, asked the men for ID, then went back to his patrol car, and that's when the suspects took off. It all ended in Lacey Lakeview when officers put out spike strips. 25-year-old Joel Palomino is charged with driving while intoxicated, evading arrest, and assault causing bodily injury. He and his 20-year-old passenger, Jose Ramirez, are also being held on immigration detainers.
$830,000. That's how much money Milam County Sheriff's deputies found inside a car stopped right in the middle of the road. That big bust happened off FM 1712. They found Rock Eanes behind the wheel, passed out this morning. He was arrested for driving while intoxicated. Several other gambling items and 2 firearms were also recovered in that car.
It has to clear a few more hurdles, but a new business with plans to open in Waco may be what the community's been looking for. For years, East Waco has been without a grocery store within walking distance of many homes. Well, now a business owner has been busy clearing out an old building to stock it with fresh produce and other items. Coming up tonight at 6, we'll walk you through the store and show you how history is repeating itself in a good way.
A 9-month-old baby is recovering after being shot during a robbery. It happened in Harris County last night. The baby was rushed into surgery. Authorities say she is expected to be okay. Deputies say the baby and her mother were just innocent bystanders when bullets went flying. A man says 3 men tried to rob him, and when he fought back, that's when they started shooting. And the man and the baby girl were hit in the process. Deputies are still looking for those 3 men right now. A family is grieving after a 4-year-old boy is mauled to death by their dog. Converse police say it happened over the weekend. They say the boy was at home playing in the backyard at the time. The mixed breed dog was tied up. They believe the boy may have gotten too close to the dog when it shook him and bit him in the neck. He was airlifted to the hospital where he later died.
It does serve as a reminder that we just absolutely need to be on our toes. This was a family dog, and even if a dog does not show any outward signs of aggression, sometimes they can be unpredictable. So it's just best to always be vigilant when you're dealing with a small child and a dog like that.
Animal Control did take the dog after the attack. It is set to be held for observation. Then it will be euthanized and tested for rabies.
2 Austin police officers are recovering after they were shot at last night. Police Chief Brian Manley says the officers were called to a duplex, but officers didn't find anything. They were getting ready to leave. That's when someone started shooting. One officer got hit in the arm. The other was injured trying to escape. Again, both are recovering. Manley says a man was fatally shot when he stepped outside the duplex with a woman. The chief did not say what led officer to shoot that man, though. Developing news out of Washington. The president says he does not believe anything Stormy Daniels said in her interview with 60 Minutes.
The adult film actress is facing a $1 million fine for violating a non-disclosure agreement because she broke her silence about her alleged affair with the president. Daniels says she had a one-night affair with him in 2006, even though she denied that in the past. Now, during the 60 Minutes interview, Daniels said Mr. Trump said, quote, "Wow, you are special. You remind me of my daughter."
Daniels claims years later she received a threat to keep the affair a secret.
A guy walked up on me and said to me, "Leave Trump alone, forget the story." And then he leaned around and looked at my daughter and said, "It's a beautiful little girl. It'd be a shame if something happened to her mom."
President Trump's personal attorney says he had nothing to do with that, but admits paying Daniels $130,000 of his own money as part of the NDA. But he says she'd lied throughout the interview. Daniels responded today with a lawsuit against him, claiming he defamed her.
Now, that payment comes just days before the 2016 presidential elections that could be considered a campaign contribution. The attorney says the Trump organization, neither them nor the campaign, were involved in paying Daniels. The president has since tweeted, "So much fake news, never been more voluminous or inaccurate."
Still ahead on News 10 at 5, a Crawford High School student goes to the state powerlifting competition, but did he bring home the gold? Julie Hayes will have an update in today's Tell Me Something Good.
And one veteran had a front row seat to a time of great change for women in the U.S. Army. She explains how she was part of the shift in Central Texas Heroes. We'll be right back. In today's Tell Me Something Good, an awesome update on a local power lifter who is going for the gold over the weekend.
Yeah, he's a very big guy. We were just talking about his size. Julie Hayes joins us now. And Julie, you spotlighted this local athlete Friday. So tell us how it ended.
Well, how could this not be the good news to report to you today? Crawford Jr. Seth Colsheen is bringing home the hardware, placing first in the state powerlifting event in Abilene. This is video from that meet at the Expo Center in Abilene on Saturday. There you can see Seth is competing, and he set 3 personal records. Here is how the event shook out. He was 5th when the squat was over after having a personal record of 710 pounds. He then made gains in the bench press with another personal record of 405 pounds. That moved him into 3rd place going into the final event, which was deadlift. Again, Seth also competed at his personal best with a deadlift of 605 pounds. That put him over the top and allowed him to clinch 1st place. In case you missed our story, right here at 5 o'clock on Friday, Seth was given a huge send-off at Crawford High School on Friday as he left for that event. The junior sort of stumbled into powerlifting as a freshman when looking for ways to get stronger on the football field. Well, Seth, you found it, and today you're bringing home exactly what you told your peers on Friday that you hope to do, the hardware, the gold. From all of us across Central Texas, congratulations on your big accomplishment. Way to make us all very proud. Reporting for today's Tell Me Something Good, I'm Julie Hayes.
Whew, that did not look easy. Well, several rounds of potentially heavy rain are likely through midweek. Good news, again, for that 4+ inch rainfall deficit we're dealing with. The latest on timing and risks involved with the approach of storms. That's next here at 5.
In tonight's Central Texas Heroes, a Waco woman had a front row seat to a great time of change in the Army.
Women were being integrated into traditional units with men in the 1970s. And as Kathy Isham explains, she soon became a part of that shift herself.
I grew up in Montana. I was born in Alaska, but I knew I didn't want to stay there. And to me, joining the Army was a chance to see the world.
And Kathy Isham did, joining up in 1974 and serving several tours in Germany. She started out in recreation services.
And we did all kinds of athletic programs for the troops and for family members. And it really is the thing that held the communities together.
But Isham was serving at a turning point in the Army's history as the Women's Army Corps, dating back to World War II, was eliminated.
When I first went to Germany, they still had the WAC units, and so women, when they would get there, would be assigned to a WAC unit. But that was phased out, and in '76, the WAC Corps disappeared. Women became full members of regular units.
Isham attended the military's Equal Opportunity Management School and made sure new rules were enforced.
The services are really dedicated to helping soldiers get along, you know, to integrate races and, you know, women into units and things like that. We held a lot of classes. I would do a lot of site visits.
But not everyone was accepting of change. She remembers one visit in particular.
As soon as I left, the sergeant major called them in and wanted to know what they were talking to me about. Well, that's not the way that we get rid of our problems. You don't want to suppress them, you want to deal with them.
And Isham says as a woman, her hard work gained the respect of her peers.
I always felt that it was my job to be a professional, for other soldiers to see me as physically fit. Physical fitness is such a main part of being seen as someone maybe equal to someone else.
Now there are continuing hurdles for women in the armed forces.
Even today you will see that transition as women go into the combat arms. So that's a slow transition.
Isham retired in 1994 and went to work for the VA, learning how to process veterans' claims. Now she uses those skills to volunteer with the McLennan County Veterans Service Office, and she wants men and women who've served
to get the benefits they're entitled to.
A lot of times, especially for women, you don't know that they're a veteran. You know, men a lot of times will wear their hat, they'll wear their shirt, but women you can't tell. And so I encourage everyone who was a veteran, come forward so that we can recognize your service and help you with all the benefits that you're eligible for.